Yo, what's up, y'all? Come check us out in the hang, right here on the launch. This is Big Guru.
I'm DJ Premier, and we're Gang Starr, representing one time for the internet.
That's right. You can feel the realness. My father used to collect jazz records. One of his best friends, who was my godfather, George Johnson, who was a high school principal, he was the illest jazz buff. Like when I used to go and try to borrow money from him to go to a Funkadelic or Cameo concert, something like that, he would give me the money, but before he gave up the change, he would make me and whoever I was with sit down in front of these big old speakers that were like bigger than us, Advent speakers, and he would say, "This is real music. This is what you need to listen to." And he would play Charlie Parker, Coltrane, Betty Carter, Sonny Rollins, etc. And that's where I got my first taste of that. And in general, as an art form, jazz and hip-hop are related because of the level of improvisation. My style is, like I said on one of the old joints, mostly my voice. A lot of rappers have a style that's their cadence that they use faster or slower, depending on the beat. Some of the rhymes I write, they won't go with other beats because I wrote them particularly for a certain beat. So that's how I get down, and that's very rare in hip-hop. I mean, KRS is like the only other one I can think of right now that does it like that. Both Premier and I are fortunate to have parents that are together. Premier's parents been married over 40 years. My parents been married almost 50 years, 49 years. Be 50 next year. And, that type of vibe is real ill when you're growing up. I mean, it's like our parents are like, you work, go to school, or get out. And that discipline, those ideals that were instilled in us is not something that's readily happening in the black family of today. And that's because of a lot of reasons. Basically, the family's been systematically divided. There's a reason why there's so many single mothers and so forth. And there's a reason why the employment structures are failing, the educational systems are failing. It's crazy. A guy that sits on the bench of a sports team could make 5 times the salary of someone that might teach your kid or my kid in an urban school. Why is it like that? So, for me, I feel like I have to give something back because I did have that structure. To me, music is the salvation of the world, the healing force of the world. So this hip-hop, this rap music is so vital that they fear it because they don't understand it. And anytime you got a situation like that, people are going to be misconstrued and misinformed. So it's up to groups like Gang Starr to come through and give you that balance, give you that articulation, let you know in a mature manner that, whoa, this is something vital and this is historical. Please, man, I'm trying to save the world lyrically, and those who listen to my lyrics know that it's reality when I'm kicking. It's lessons for the youth, one-on-one, dialogue with the urban youth to try to help them elevate their mind state and to expand their awareness as to the obstacles that are going to be in their way, So it's definitely not just jazz rap.
Jazz, had a whole different sound as far as not sounding like what everybody was looping, and everybody's running out of James Brown records to hook up. So it was like it had to change and go into a different sound. And I don't mind being, the person to take a risk. It depends on just the extent of that risk and if it's worth doing it. And so we took a risk of trying a different sound, and then they started trying to label it. But I think we got labeled because of the fact we did 2 records that had to deal with jazz. Being a DJ, and I like to, play records that going, break before everybody's really up on it. and that's why I think that's why I make my beats the same way. So when DJs get it, they'll want to cut the beginning, or I always try to make the record start a certain way where you can even just keep cutting the beginning, because that's what I appreciate on joints I get, catching the beginning of the break, the way it leads into a vocal, all that. So I always go with that mindset, with the DJ intent and just the hip hop intent as a whole. My pops is an educator. He teaches in school. So, and my mom's an art teacher. So she understood me more, because being she's an art teacher, she's about creating things. And so when she saw me dibbing and dabbing and in the music, especially being that she has a crazy vinyl collection, because back at the time when I was a kid, that's all we had was vinyl and and 8-tracks and shit. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't any type of CDs and DATs and all that type of stuff. Technology's changed, and as technology's changed, the hip hop has changed along with it, even from the machines we use to make beats. A lot of older cats lost the hunger of it, and all they do is whine about all these new cats is getting the money. It's never too late to get back in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm 31 years old, and I'm still kicking. And I haven't even lost that flavor for it. You should be able to create beats. There's a lot of DJs that are ill when it comes to battling and all that. You put them on a drum machine and they're adequate. They ain't banging, but so they lack the skills in that. Me, I learned from just practicing, knowing how I want my joints to sound. Then once I figured out the scientific side of how you really truncate a sample and just be able to flip it, and it still is up to you what your mind creates it to be.